They give up the 12th most adjusted yards per attempt, 4.0 yards per carry. Now, they only do give up 78.7 rushing yards per game. He had 6 yards a carry, and he ripped off a 20-yard run against this defense last year. We'll start with a couple of leans just to throw it on out there. The leans have been doing really well. I wish I've been playing the damn leans, honestly, because the last 3-4 weeks, they're done very well. But I got a couple Najee leans here, over 17.5 attempts. Maybe that's been bet up to 18. That would be a little too close for comfort, probably. I know it's only one, but I feel pretty good that we're going to get 18 carries from Najee Harris. And I also think, believe it or not, that, I got to have at least one sneaky, easy prop that you get on one play. Although this isn't official, but last week we're still laughing. I am about Jahan Dotson over 7.5, first play of the game, catch for 8, cash it. But Najee over, what is that? 8.5 yards. I mean, they do give him some checkdowns here. Russ Wilson does. It's not like they completely ignore him on early downs. Like if it's a clear passing situation, yeah, we're going to get Jalen Warren out there. But Najee is not a bad receiver. Remember, what he caught 70-plus balls his rookie year with Big Ben. I think he had a 14-catch game. Now, granted, he's only averaging about 2 catches a game for 12, but we'll just throw it out there just because bad weather game, he'll get a couple of checkdowns. I feel pretty good about it. Again, not good enough to play it, but let's get to the official plays, and we'll go right back to one Najee Harris. Now, we did get in on this yesterday. It has been bet up a little bit, but if I said yesterday officially we're in, then we should be in at that number, and it was 66.5. Again, I expect plenty of volume. He's looking very good. I was very impressed with Najee last week. He made a couple unblocked defenders miss. I was like, damn, looking good against a tough Ravens run defense. The Browns also give up the 11th most adjusted yards before contact per attempt, 4.3 yards per carry. Even Alvin Kamara, who didn't really have a wonderful day at the office, he got to 67 yards rushing in the matchup last week. And, of course, Taysom Hill bogarted 138 rushing yards. So they gave up, the Browns did, over 200 yards rushing last week. And we have a bad weather game in Cleveland tonight with the Steelers favored by 3.5 points. So Najee should get closer carries at the worst, at the minimal. So if he doesn't get 66.5 over 67, I'd absolutely be completely stunned. So there's number one. We're making 4 picks. Next up, we're going to go Ced Tillman, as I outlined at the top of the show. I have an angle here for Ced Tillman. Number one, the Browns and Jameis Winston, they're throwing it over 40 times a game every single week. Winston's been at 41-plus attempts in every game, last 3. We have the Browns as home underdogs, meaning they should be throwing for all 4 quarters, chasing some points. We have Jerry Jeudy likely getting shadow coverage from Joey Porter. We have a so-so schematic matchup for Elijah Moore. And we have left over a good schematic matchup for Ced Tillman. So this is what we do. This is what I do. When you look at a game, you look at it from every angle, and let's stack up the pros and the cons. I don't think there's much of a con here. He only got 3 for 47 last week, I guess, on 8 targets, which was a little underwhelming. But he previously had a 3-game run with Jameis Winston, where he's got 9-plus catches, or 9-plus targets, 6-plus catches, and 75-plus yards. I also think that we'll get a good matchup, or a beatable matchup against Dante Jackson, the former Panther. He is playing better now in Pittsburgh, but he's kind of the weak link in that secondary. I've also met Ced Tillman. He's a great dude. very serious young man. I'm sure he's ready. He's prepared. You don't worry about anything like that with Ced Tillman. He's watched the game film. He's not watching SpongeBob on his iPad like others. His father played in the NFL. He was like a 12th round pick. So yeah, I love these former NFL players and their sons and all that, because the sons know what to expect. They just know the deal. Next up, George Pickens. I'm in over 58.5. We've mentioned the good schematic matchup there for George. They do play a lot of single high, and he crushes single high. Absolutely mauls it. 3.25 yards per route run on 162 routes against single high. The Browns also give up the 11th most yards per game receiving and the 7th most yards per route run to perimeter receivers like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who got there on only 2 catches last week with 87 yards. Do worry about George a little bit. It might be a little... He's a little frustrating, but more often than not, he's been coming through here with Russ Wilson. I mean, come on, 58.5. I think we'll get there even in a bad weather game. I also, and this might be the gutsiest call, but, I am absolutely feeling it. Nick Chubb over 51.5 rushing yards. Going back to the well a little bit after a loss last week. But see, as I've mentioned, I did not know that they would pretty severely limit his snaps in preparation for this game. I didn't think of it, honestly. Maybe I should every week now. Oh, before I recommend this dude coming off, he had been playing for a couple of games here. This was his 3rd game. I guess I need to look at, just make sure that they're not playing on Thursday and they might minimize him in a short week. Well, okay, they did that last week, but they did that to have him available for a larger workload tonight in Cleveland against the team where he suffered that nasty injury last year that knocked him out for the whole year. It was, I believe the game was in Cleveland, but it was against the Steelers, that is for sure. And the Steelers they're not a brick wall up against the run. Like, you can run on Pittsburgh here. They give up the 12th most adjusted yards per attempt to, in the running game. 4.0 yards per carry. Now, they only do give up 78.7 rushing yards per game. They did limit Derrick Henry last week, but he got 13 carries for 65. And, by the way, for what it's worth, in that game last year, with Nick Chubb, he had 6 yards a carry, and he ripped off a 20-yard run against this defense last year. That's kind of what I'm seeing here, as Brett Whitefield brought up yesterday as well. I agree. Nick Chubb is a guy that you got to commit to him, so I'm sure there'll be a full commitment to him because they'll be committing to the run on the other side. So let's go with, I think he's going to get 14, 15, 16 carries, and I think we can get there. 51.5 yards for Nicholas Chubb. All we have left is the Thursday night special. We call it a best bet. It's brought to you by GBank, the official bank of VSiN. The GBank Visa signature card is your best bet, delivering 1% cashback rewards on eligible gaming transactions and 2% cashback rewards on all other eligible purchases. For more information, head to VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank, subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. I deliberated on this one. I do like a couple of alternative totals for the running backs. I really considered a Nick Chubb one, but the special is Cedric Tillman to have the most receiving yards in the game. Really, George Pickens is going to be, in my opinion, his biggest competition, and I think they'll be handing the ball off a lot in the second half, whereas Jameis is going to be out there slinging it. This puppy is plus 380. Good schematic matchup for Ced Tillman. If it hits, You're welcome.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.